technical education system. And technical education is not only knowledge. A skill is an integral part of technical education, because ultimately we make technical manpower who are supposed to do things. So in order to do, one has to acquire the skill of doing something. It's not just knowledge, having knowledge and being a wise person. It's something related to the technical skill and technical competence to do something which will be useful for people, useful for society, useful for the nation. So skill is an integral part of our technical education system, and I'm sure that you are already very much aware of this, because all of you have gone through this skill, acquiring skill through your curriculum, and as teachers of technical education system, you are constantly in the process of imparting skill to the students and evaluating the skill they are acquiring through laboratories and other activities also. So what I am going to discuss right now, I'm sure that it is something already known to you, not that you do not know. So it is not a regular classroom situation where you are going and you are saying something to the students, and the students, for the students, it is something new. But consider this to be a kind of sharing of experience. You are professionals, you are teachers of technical education system. I am also a teacher, though right now my identity is that of a trainer more than teacher, but actually I spend a lot of time in engineering colleges, and still now I am involved in teaching at undergraduate as well as postgraduate programs. So I have first-hand experience of imparting skill along with knowledge to my students, and I would like to share my experience with you and interact with you. So first thing that I would like to do is to share my screen and go to the presentation mode. Okay.
Sir, it's not audible.
I think he got a call and left. Let me call him. He got disconnected, so he'll join back with shortly.
I'm back. Hello? Is this visible to you?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Visible, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay. Thank you. So skill evaluation, skill assessment and evaluation is a topic that we are going to discuss right now. So let me start with at a point which is known to all of us already, namely the behaviorist theory of learning. Behaviorist theory of learning says that learning can be quantified in terms of change in behavior. So the first effect of any kind of learning that we expect from a learner is that after learning, there will be a change in behavior. Now, the term behavior has to be considered in a very wide uh, wide spectrum. Behavior doesn't mean that how simply I am talking to you or how a person is reacting when he or she is interacting with others. It's not like that only. Behavior means something, some kind of capability, some kind of competency. Suppose that one is learning driving a car. So the behavioral change that we expect that the person will have after learning the car, learning to drive a car, is before learning how to drive a car, if he is asked to drive a car, he or she won't be able to do that. But after learning, he or she will be able to drive the car. So this capacity, this change in behavior will take place in that person when he or she goes through the process of learning how to drive a car. Now, what do you mean by saying that it can be quantified? Quantified means, since we are persons of science and technology, we know that unless we can quantify something, it is very difficult to judge, if not impossible to judge. We would like to quantify everything that we want to discuss or we want to deal with. So the effect of education should also be observable and quantifiable. It's not that I get some kind of deep knowledge and I just become a wise person. And as a result of being wise, I grow very large beard.
No, why, sir?
So looking into the beard, you can say that I am a wise person. It's not like that. So the effect of education should be observable and quantifiable, so that whether the learning process has been successful or not, that can be ascertained. So the first thing, the most important thing about the behaviorist theory of learning is learning can be quantified in terms of change in behavior. So after the process of learning, we can decide, we can measure what kind of change in behavior has taken place in the learner, so that we can ascertain whether the learning process has been successful or not. So this we all know. And we also know that a change in behavior can take place in 3 domains. These are the 3 domains: cognitive domain, which deals with knowledge; psychomotor domain, which deals with skill; and affective domain, which deals with attitude. So knowledge, skill, attitude, KDKSA. These are the 3 integral components of the behavior in which the change in the learning takes place. Hello? Any question? Okay. So let me proceed. So again, at the outset, let us remind ourselves that learning can be quantified in terms of change in behavior, and the change in behavior takes place in three domains, namely the cognitive domain, that is knowledge, psychomotor domain, that is skill, and affective domain, that is attitude. Now, you see that in today's session, our focus will be in the psychomotor domain or the skill. But before that, we need to review a few concepts. The first thing is, what is skill? What do you mean by skill? Here are some equivalent kind of definitions or descriptions of skill, which has been accepted by the experts all over the world. The first one says, skill is the capacity to do something, that is perform. Skill is the capacity to perform with a given degree of effectiveness and efficiency. So three keywords you can identify in this definition of skill. One is performance, that is the capacity to perform, capacity to do something, and that capacity to do something must be effective with effectiveness and efficiency. If I do something without effectiveness, without efficiency, I cannot be said to have skill. I may be doing something, I may be trying to do something, but I am not a skilled person. So whenever we say that this person has a skill, he has a skilled worker, he has a skilled, he has skill in this domain, it means that the particular skill can be particular work, particular task, particular job can be done by this person with efficiency and effectiveness. Next, skill refers to actions, intellectual or physical. Here we have extended the domain of skill from psychomotor to intellectual or the cognitive skill also. We know that cognitive skill is also a very important part to survive in this world. Skill refers to actions, and that actions corresponds to intellectual as well as physical, and indeed reactions, actions and reactions, because whenever a person is doing something, we cannot expect that he or she is the sole agency who will be changing, bringing some change in the world. But in course of trying to do something, he or she will get feedback from the system, and he or she will be reacting to that feedback. So that reaction also, appropriate reaction at appropriate occasion is part of the skill. So skill refers to actions and indeed reactions, reactions to ideas, things, or people which a person performs in a competent way in order to achieve a goal. So this is, here you see that along with the skill, we have identified goal, achievement of goal, competence, all these things comes into play when we consider the term skill. Next one, skill is competent performance of a task or activity. Competent performance. And this word competent embeds effectiveness, efficiency, all these things. Then it says that in practicing a skill, one uses certain items of knowledge that are stored in the mind. So skill simply doesn't mean that you are using your psychomotor, you are using your muscle, and you are using your limbs only, but at the same time, the brain is also there. You cannot do anything without your brain. Even if I want to move my hand, even if I just want to talk. But ultimately, the brain is the agent who is controlling and who is taking care of all these activities. So, and whatever is stored in the brain is knowledge. Okay. So, in practicing skill, that means when we are doing something, some skill-based work, skill-based job, we have to use our knowledge which is stored in the mind. And finally, skill develops with appropriate practice, corrective feedback, and repetitions, etc. We also, this is a fact of life that we all acknowledge, that just by learning something in the academics doesn't make one skillful person. He or she has to practice it in real life, and when he or she practices in real life, uh, the person is prone to commit errors, and there will be someone or or the environment itself that will give feedback that these are the places where you have committed error, or these are the places where you have scope of improvement. So this feedback process is always there, and which will be assimilated by the person who, even though is not a learner, has come to the status of a performer or a professional, has to hone the skill, and through repeated performance, one acquires the perfection, or the real skill that will be applicable and that will be useful in everyday life, or in everyday professional life of that person. Okay. Now we come to categories of skill. You see, skill can be categorized on the basis of two parameters. One is the domain of performance, and another is degree of creativity. Domain of performance, that means in which domain the skill has to be performed. And degree of creativity means in my skillful work, what kind of creativity, to what extent I have to be creative. So on the basis of degree of creativity, we can categorize skill, and we can categorize skill on the basis of domain of performance. So here is the 4 domains of performance of any kind of skill. These domains are intellectual or cognitive domain, physical or psychomotor domain, reactive domain, reactive performance, interactive performance. So cognitive, psychomotor, reactive, interactive. What is cognitive? Cognitive means thinking or reasoning, the skill of using one's head. So this is related to intelligence. How intelligently one is using one's head. Cognitive power, that is the cognitive or intellectual performance. Regarding physical or psychomotor, obviously it is using the body. Using the body. The cognitive is, if cognitive is related to using one's head, psychomotor or physical is related to one's using one's body. So sports and any kind of performance, okay, performing art or any kind of practical task falls within this category of skill. Reactive skill relates to personal behavior and the skill of controlling oneself. So this is related to how well behaved we can be in a gross way, you can say, how we can control ourselves in practical situations. On the other hand, interactive performance means interpersonal behavior, how we behave with others, the skill to live and work together. This is a very important skill, though it is very difficult to impart this skill through bookish knowledge or laboratory experiment. It has a uh, broader area of applicability, and to some extent, I would say that it relates to attitude also. So interpersonal behavior or the skill to live and work together is what we call interactive performance, interactive category of skill. So on the basis of domain of performance, we have four kinds of skill. I repeat, cognitive or intellectual skill, physical or psychomotor skill, reactive skill, and interactive skill. Next comes categories of skill based on degree of creativity. Please don't use your terminal for this lines, etc. It is disturbing. Okay. So categories of skill based on degree of creativity are of two kinds. One is reproductive skills, another is productive skills. What is reproductive skill? It is executed in a totally automated manner, involving no analytical thinking, planning, or evaluation of alternatives. Depends on completely on the application of previously learned algorithms. So a typical example of productive skill is maybe when someone is typewriting. So the person is just repeating what skill he or she has acquired without any involvement of the brain. I mean, it's a kind of Pavlovian reflex action that takes place, but conscious effort is not given. But of course, there are other kind of productive skills also in the cognitive domain itself. And this is reproductive skill, whereas in productive skill, it is executed in non-automated manner, involving the analysis and evaluation of alternatives and planning of appropriate strategies of problem solving. So here, along with your psychomotor, your mind has to be applied. So there are alternatives, and you have to judge which alternative is better, which is worse, and maybe you have to consider what will be the effect, what will be the after effects, and what will be the consequences of various choices, and on the basis of your judgment, you have to take a decision. So these kind of things are, it's not like repetition, not blind repetition. Analysis and synthesis kind of things are also involved here. Strategic, appropriate strategies of problem solving. So it depends on application of concepts and general principles. And you know that concepts and general principles, these are cognitive matters. So productive skills is involved with cognitive domain also. Okay. Now, if we combine these two domains of skills, then we get this table. On the row, we have the various skill categories on the basis of domain of performance: cognitive, psychomotor, reactive, and interactive. And the main features of each of these are also indicated here. Cognitive skills corresponds to decision making, problem solving, logical thinking, and so on. Psychomotor skills relates to physical action, perceptual acuity, and so on. Reactive skills dealing with oneself, that is attitude, feeling, habits, self-control, and so on. and interactive skills means dealing with the others. And in the column side, we have reproductive, which basically means applying procedures, and productive, which basically means applying principles and strategies. Procedure is something fixed, and principles and strategies are also fixed, but they have to be applied depending on the practical situation. So if we combine, for example, psychomotors, reproductive psychomotor skill. What is reproductive psychomotor skill? Sensor motor skills, repetitive or automated action such as typewriting, etc. But at the same thing, psychomotor skill, if you go to the productive domain, productive skill domain, category, you will get strategy skills or planning skills, arts, crafts, similar kind of things. Consider reactive skills. Reactive skills, reactive and productive. Reactive and reproductive will be conditioned habits and attitudes. How to attain, respond, value, approach, avoid behavior. So these kind of things. But when the same reactive skill is combined with productive skill, you get personal control. Personal control, developing a mental set or value system, self-actualization. This is at a higher level than say your conditioned habits. So these are the various combinations of categories of skill, and in practical, in real life situation, we have to identify in which combination of categories the skill we are concerned about falls within. Okay. Next, here is a structure of skill. Performance, that is physical or intellectual, is seen as a cycle of internal activities. What is that cycle? It's not arbitrary. It's a particular cycle. And that cycle is perception, recall, plan, act. Perception, recall, plan, act. Perception of incoming information, problem, situation, etc. So that is the first step. I have to perceive what is the situation around me and then recall the relevant knowledge. So that is stored in my mind. Corresponding to current situation, what kind of activity, what kind of step should be appropriate at this situation? So that I have to recall. So after perception comes recall, and then after recall, I have to plan what actually I have to do. What is the sequence of my actions that has to be taken place so that I achieve my goal? And then finally act. Before action, perception, recall, plan has to be carried out appropriate way. Otherwise, the action will not be effective. So this is the structure of skilled behavior. Now we come to psychomotor skill. Psychomotor skill requires the ability to complete a work, complete a task using thinking and motor control. Motor control means the way we control the various limbs of our body. So generally, psychomotor skill is related to movement, various kinds of movements and body activities. So a combination of thinking and motor control has to take place whenever we are doing something with psychomotor skill. In psychomotor domain, the categories in increasing order of difficulty are imitation or observation, followed by manipulation, followed by precision or competent active action, followed by articulation or consolidation, and the highest form of psychomotor skill is naturalization and mastery. So these are the hierarchical structure of psychomotor skill. starting with the base level of imitation or observation. Any kind of psychomotor skill starts with imitation or observation. That is what the babies, the children do. They observe their parents, the way they talk, the way they walk, the way they do something, and they try to imitate that. So imitation, though sometimes we consider it with a very low value that someone is just imitating, but actually imitation is at the basis of acquiring any kind of skill. Even for cognitive skill, the children learn to write, learn to talk by imitating elders. So there also imitation is at the base. But after you cannot reside at imitation for your entire life. From imitation you go to manipulation. After manipulation, precision or competent activity, then articulation or consolidation, and finally naturalization or master. So these are the just a minute. So here are the psychomotor descriptors. Level and category. Say level 1 is imitation, level 2 is manipulation, level 3 is precision, and level 4 is articulation, level 5 is naturalization. What are these? Level 1, imitation. Here is a behavioral description. Copy action of another, observe and replicate. Level 2, manipulation. Reproduce activity from instruction or memory. Level 3, precision. Execute skill reliably, independent of help. Without any help, I am able to do something. That means I have reached a level of 3, third level, precision level in my psychomotor skill. And then level 4 is articulation. Articulation means adapt and integrate expertise to satisfy a non-standard objective. Up to level 3, standard objective. What is to be done is well defined. But from level 4 and 5, what is to be done, that is also not specified. You have to decide what is to be done so that the goal, higher level goal, is achieved. So articulation means adapt and integrate expertise to satisfy a non-standard objective. And level 5 is naturalization, which means automated, unconscious mastery of activity and related skill at strategic level, at master. Who is a master? Who is a master? Violin player. Okay, a master violin player need not think how to play. So it becomes, it is integrated with his whole being. It has been integrated in his blood in such a way that without thinking, without conscious effort, he can perform perfectly. So that is the ultimate level of psychomotor skill, level 5, which we call naturalization, which corresponds to automated, unconscious mastery of activity and related skills at strategic level. And here are some examples of activity or demonstration and evidence to be measured, and the keywords, that is the verbs which describe the activity to be trained or measured at each level. I'm not going to repeat these things. I will send this material to the coordinator. You can collect it from coordinator and go through it. Let me proceed because there are many things we have to discuss still. So psychomotor descriptor. So here are the learning outcomes in the psychomotor domain. Okay. These are the standard learning outcomes in psychomotor domain. Student learning outcomes in psychomotor domain has been recognized, categorized as: first is recognition of tools and materials. Unless one say we are asking the student to use a lathe machine or a microscope in our mechanical engineering department. They have a fantastic electron microscope. So in order to use a tool, use the machine, one has to learn one has to be acquainted with the various aspects of that tool. Okay, without learning the tool, you cannot apply it. You cannot make use of it. Not only tools, but also the materials which will be used for processing and for getting your work done. So recognition of tools and materials is the first learning outcome that has to be satisfied to acquire, to achieve the other learning outcomes. So after recognition of tools and materials comes handling of tools and materials. This is the most important part, I would say, because unless you know how to handle the tool, you cannot do anything at all. So first recognition of tools and materials, then handling of tools and materials, and then basic operation of the tools. What are the operations that can be performed with the tool? Then competent operation of the tools. Competent operations. That means you have to do it competently and efficient. Okay. Then only we can say that someone has achieved the competency level of psychomotor skill. Then comes expert operation of the tools. You have to be expert. After that, planning of work operations, and then evaluation of outputs and planning means for improvement. So ultimately, we should be able to evaluate the output. That is, how good or how useful the output of applying the psychomotor skill for practical purposes, and how to improve that. Okay, so these are the standard learning outcomes in any kind of psychomotor domain. I repeat: recognition of tools and materials, handling of tools and materials, basic operation of tools, competent operation of tools, expert operation of tools, planning of work operations, evaluation of outputs and planning means for improvement. Okay. With this background on the various aspects of psychomotor skill, we come to the real life situation. I am sure that all of you are coming from technical education system, and in the technical education system, we run diploma programs, degree programs, MTech or master degree programs, various kinds of certificate courses, etc. in various technical disciplines: mechanical, electrical, computer science, electronics, civil. Okay, so and nowadays many emerging areas like artificial intelligence, machine learning, okay, nanoparticles, and there are thousands of different domains in which nice programs are being offered by various technical institutions in our country. And if we go through the curriculum of these courses, we will see that basically 6 categories of papers or courses are offered. Namely, 6 kinds of teaching learning processes: theory, tutorial, laboratory, seminar, project/dissertation, and industrial training. So these are the things that I have identified. Do you agree with me? Or you think there is some other kind of courses also in your institution? Is there any other category of courses? There are audit courses, I know. Audit courses are there, but I'm not considering the audit courses in our discussion, because actually audit courses are audit courses. They are not, we don't assign any credit. Hello? Is this list exhaustive, or you think there are other kinds of courses also? Theory, other than theory, tutorial, laboratory, seminar, project or dissertation, and industrial training.
That's it, sir.
That's it. Okay. So now what I want to do, I want to consider each one of these different categories.
Sir, nowadays,
Hello?
hello, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, nowadays there is a different course called summer entrepreneurship.
Oh, that falls in the industrial training. That is similar to industrial training. Industrial training or entrepreneurship, that means by industrial training, I mean that when the student or learner has to go out of the academic environment and go into the world of work, that means in the industry, and in the company, they stay for some time and learn something from there about the real life situation in which they have to apply their skills and knowledges. So I think that entrepreneurship, what it is called?
Entrepreneurship as well as internship is also there.
Internship. Yeah, internship. Entrepreneurship is a different thing. Entrepreneurship is not a technical thing. Entrepreneurship is a making
That is also part of course, sir.
Yeah, that is
Both
also a part of course, but that is not a
syllabus.
technical. I'm considering technical papers, categories of technical papers. Those are non-technical things. For example, there are many non-technical papers also, like communication skill, or sometimes English writing. I'm not considering them here because we are mainly concerned about the skill component, psychomotor skill component. Not only psychomotor, cognitive and psychomotor both.
Sir, hello, sir.
Yes.
Dress designing and garment manufacturing is also there.
Design and garment manufacturing.
Dress
Okay.
designing and garment manufacturing.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that is the area in which the degree is being given. Now, what about the individual papers?
Papers are regarding manufacturing, and some training is given there. That is being.
So that means laboratory kind of thing. Laboratory. That means where some work is being done under the supervision of some instructor.
Yes, sir. Yes.
That's it. That is what I say.
Yes.
So now I start with this just a minute. So what kind of, we have seen that depending on the domain of performance, skill can be categorized into four categories, namely cognitive, psychomotor, reactive, interactive. And these are the various courses: theory, tutorial, laboratory, seminar, project or dissertation, industrial training. And in this table, I have tried to indicate which course is related to which course embodies which kind of skill. For example, in purely theory paper, skill component is not there. There is no skill component in a purely theory paper. Am I correct or incorrect? Can there be any purely theory paper?
Yes, sir, you are right.
In technical education, as far as I can see, in technical education, in arts and other kinds of outside the technical arena, there can be a paper which is completely theory. Say, for example, history, or say political science, or to some extent you can say that literature. There you simply study, and the only kind of skill that is required is how to write something. Okay, so that is integrated in the process. But in technical education system, in science and technology, I don't think there is it is possible to have a purely theory paper. All theory papers are integrated within the theory is some kind of skill. If nothing, then cognitive skill also only. So you see, in tutorial, we know that tutorial is not a separate course. Generally, the theory courses are divided into theory classes and tutorial classes. So actually, the cognitive skill regarding any theory is practiced in a tutorial. In a week, say 3 theory classes are there and 1 tutorial. So in the tutorial, we help the student acquire the cognitive skill regarding the theory that is being taught in the theory classes. So if you consider the entire paper, say even if it is say mathematics, okay, the tutorial classes are held so that the students can solve the related problems, mathematical problems. But in tutorial classes, cognitive skill, development of cognitive skill is there, but neither psychomotor nor reactive nor interactive. So these 3 components are absent. In the laboratory, we have cognitive skill because knowledge is required, and also psychomotor skill depending upon the kind of experiment or kind of job you are doing. In certain laboratory experiments, the psychomotor skill is quite high. For example, if one has to do some, say, titration in chemistry, we know that you must have control over the activities of your hands and fingers, so that the reactants are appropriately mixed in the flask. Otherwise, your titration will not be perfect. So psychomotor skill is involved, but neither reactive nor interactive. Then comes seminar. In seminar, we think that all the components are required. Not only in seminar, project, and industrial training. Cognitive, psychomotor, reactive, and interactive, all kinds of skills are required in these papers. I'm going to discuss it in greater detail. Okay. Here are the 4 components of education. Pardon? Any question, madam? Someone wanted to ask any question? Okay, no. If no, then I am proceeding. So here are the 4 components of educational assessment. Content is there, educational content, then learning objectives, learning activities, and assessment. All of them are interacting with each other. This is a standard diagram. Now we have a few definitions relating to assessment, evaluation, measurement, test. These are the common terminologies we use in our education systems. Broadly speaking, these are the systematic processes of collecting data and analyzing those data to make decisions. So, but there are subtle differences between among these terms: measurement, test, assessment, evaluation. What is measurement? The measurement is a process of gathering information about learning, of quantifying the degree to which someone possesses a given characteristic, quality, or feature. I said at the very beginning that we believe that education is a process which brings change in behavior of a person, and that change in behavior is measurable. Okay, observable, measurable. So we can quantify the degree to which someone possesses a given characteristic, quality, or feature. The purpose is to produce quantitative data, that is test score, rating, and so on. The numerical data generated in the measurement are used in evaluation, such as students' achievement. What is a test? A test is a question or a task or a series of such designed to elicit some predefined behavior from the person being tested. So I test whether the person has really learned to drive a car. A person, whether he knows how to start a car and how to stop it. He knows how to accelerate the car, how to apply the brakes. So all these things can be ascertained through a test. Assessment. Assessment is a purposeful process in the classroom to collect data, both quantitative and qualitative. Hence, it is a broader term than measurement. And finally, evaluation is a process of making decisions on the basis of measurement. So measurement, test, assessment, and evaluation are the 4 terms we will be constantly using and we are using in our professional life. Types of assessment: formative and summative. Formative assessment means the ongoing assessment, reviews, and observations in a classroom. When you take the classes, you observe the behavior of the students. You assess how far they are learning. All these things are recorded by you either formally or informally within itself. So this is formative assessment, which is continuous, which goes throughout the teaching learning process. And summative assessment takes place at the end of the academic year or semester. It is to judge the student's competency after an instructional phase is complete. Another way of classifying the types of assessment is objective or subjective. Objective means selected response. That means response is given, the learner is to select which one is appropriate. So MCQs, true, false, matching, these are objective type of assessment procedure. And there is subjective or constructive response, means a form of questioning having more than one correct answer. That means more than one way of answering the question, more than one way of expressing the correct answer. That is called the subjective type of assessment or constructed response assessment. Again, assessment can be formal as well as informal. Formal usually implicates a written document such as a test, quiz. So these are the things which has some kind of evidence is kept, and some kind of numerical score, grade based on its students' performance. These are awarded in formal type of assessment. But at the same time, we are all aware that continuously through our interaction to the students or learners, we carry out informal type of assessment also. And this informal type of assessment usually occurs in a more casual manner and may include observations, participation, peer and self-evaluation and discussion. And generally, it does not contribute to students' final grade, because in our system, we always, whatever is graded, whatever is awarded ultimately to the student is on the basis of recorded process, recorded assessment. So informal assessment is not contribute to the final assessment of the student or learner. So it is 12 o'clock. So I propose that let us take 5 minutes break, and after that we will continue the rest of the session. Okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. So just for 5 minutes you relax, and after 5 minutes I will be joining, and we will continue our
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
discussion. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Hello. Hello.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. ওই যে
Yeah.
আচ্ছা করতে হ্যাঁ একটু একবার করে রাখুক না যদি লাগে মঙ্গল দা ওই একবার আরেকটাও করে রাখ
Well, friends, I'm here again. Hello.
Yeah, sir, you're
Yes, sir.
nicely
You're
audible,
audible,
sir.
sir.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
okay.
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Yeah, thank you very
Sir,
much.
sir,
Thank you
I
very
have a
much.
one question, sir. Can I?
Yes, sure. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. Nowadays, AICT has a mandate of this holistic development and all. So it may play the role in skill development in which situation how we should react.
Can you
Definitely.
please repeat your question?
Yeah. Sir,
Ah.
sir, now am I audible now?
Yes, you are now audible.
So as per the AICT mandate, nowadays we are teaching to student how to this holistic development related things.
Yes.
So it will be helping in a skill development. In what situation we should react in what kind of the action we should take with respect to the action.
Thank you very much for the question. This is a very, very relevant question in today's situation. Because actually, holistic education is the educational paradigm that we had in our country. You know, that is the traditional education. By education, we mean holistic education only. By education, our ancestors and the wise people, and not only our ancestors. If you consider the famous teachers of our country like Rabindranath Tagore or Rishi Vivekananda, Swami Vivekananda, or Rishi Aurobindo, or say Krishnamurti, okay, they all of them have considered education as a holistic development. None of them have considered education in a fragmented way. Okay, am I correct? Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
And sir, apart from that, we are focusing on universal
Now what
human
happens
value also.
historically, two things happened. One is due to development of science and technology. Not only due to development of science and technology, due to democratization of education. Democratization of education, by democratization of education, I mean the fact that nowadays we have all accepted that education is a right. Any knowledge, any person, every human being has a right to acquire knowledge. Knowledge is no longer a privileged thing. Okay? Now, due to this philosophy and also the fact that the technique of storage of knowledge and dissemination of knowledge has been developed to such an extent that it is now possible to reach, to take knowledge to every person in a cost-effective way. You get my point? There was a time when there was no printing press. Now, imagine the situation where there is no printing press. There is no way to make, say, 100 copies of a book. So naturally, in such a situation, knowledge was a privileged thing. It was confined within a very limited number of persons, and rest of the people, they acquired whatever knowledge is required through other means. Okay, not our formal education system. Now, what happened? Due to development of the society, development of the of science and technology and industry, the amount of knowledge also multiplied to great extent. Now knowledge is everywhere, and it is not possible for a person to acquire knowledge in every sphere of life. So the concept of specialization comes into being, and universities were established in which various departments are there. So nowadays, no one can claim that I will be an expert in, say, political science as well as in computer science. Okay, I will be an expert in history. Even inside any discipline, there are micro specializations. This is due to the fact that knowledge has multiplied million times, billion times, and it is not possible for us, for any human being, to know everything. So, this is one thing. Another thing is, in our country, one thing became more relevant, that what is the purpose of gaining knowledge by the students? I do not know what is your age. When I was a student, the economy was not as developed as it is today in our country, and getting a job was a very difficult thing at that time. So a question came: what is the purpose of learning or acquiring these degrees, BA, BSc, MA, MSc, if it is not related to work? So at that time, the philosophy or the policy was taken at the government level that education should be related to work. Education is to be related to what can be applied in real life. Okay, so the technical education got a boost, because technical education is related to something which is applicable to in real life directly, and it is directly related to the quality of life, development, all these things. So at that time, that was a time for specialization. Okay, I remember there was a time when only electrical engineering departments were there. Then electrical engineering department was bifurcated into electrical and electronics and telecommunication. After that, when computer science matured as a subject, from electronics and telecommunications, separate computer science department was established. So specialization, more and more specialization took place. And it went to that extent where we lost sight of the basic purpose of education, is that of making a good human being, making a good citizen. So it happens now that we are imparting technical knowledge, but we are not imparting the knowledge how to be and how to be a good citizen. For that purpose, holistic knowledge is required. Holistic education is required. So now the government again realizes that along with the specialized knowledge, specialized skill, holistic education is to be integrated, so that we not only get a skilled personnel, but also a good citizen. So that is a basic philosophy. Hello?
Hello.
Am I clear?
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir, yes,
Got
sir.
the point, sir.
Can we, sir, can we
Yes.
call this holistic education is the all-round development of the personality regarding the cognitive?
I would not say all-round development, because no person can be an all-rounder, but not no person, very few person can be an all-rounder. But at the same time, there are some basic attributes of good citizen, okay, and some fundamental knowledge about our environment, about our tradition, that should be, and that can be imparted to every educated person. I think the present government is putting stress on that. And you know that in UNESCO also, there was a commission to identify the the attributes of 20th century learning. They are also they call it 4 pillars of learning, and they also have looked learning as a process of holistic development concerning learning to learn, learning to do, learning to live together, and learning to be. These are the 4 pillars of learning. I repeat, learning to learn. That means how we can learn by ourselves new knowledge, because knowledge is now available. Managing knowledge, acquiring knowledge is more important than availability of knowledge due to internet and other technologies. So along with acquiring knowledge, one has to acquire the learning to learn skill by themselves, so that throughout his life a person can learn whenever necessary. So this is learning to learn, and then learning to do. Learning to do is related to acquiring skill, which will contribute to economy, which will contribute to standard of living, quality of life. Then learning to live together. Learning to live together, because all of us are part of a society, and the society consists of various kinds of people. They have various traits, they have various faiths, they have various beliefs. So how to live peacefully with respect to each other in a harmonious society, that also has a skill, and that skill has to be developed within a person. That skill has to be imparted within a person, not only by the educational institutions and not only by the teachers, but it is the responsibility of the entire society, consisting of parents and relatives, friends, and any responsible person in the society. So this is how this is the third pillar, learning to live together, and the fourth pillar is learning to be. Learning to be means every person has many capabilities in himself or herself, and how to materialize what is inside me, what is inside you. That is your responsibility. That is my responsibility. Because no one else will be, suppose you have a capacity to sing very well. So it is your responsibility that your potential to be a good singer has to be realized in your life. So that also need a kind of skill, how to be what I am supposed to be. So these are the 4 things that UNESCO has identified as the 4 pillars of 21st century learning in 21st century. And I think our policy of holistic learning is in synchronization with UNESCO's findings and suggestions. But of course, it's very difficult to do it in a formal way. It cannot be confined within the classroom. It cannot be judged by taking a test. It is a broader sense of education, but that is most important. Am I clear? Hello?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes.
So let me continue, because there is quite a number of slides I have to complete. So here are the various assessment tools and strategies. You see that there are 4 quadrants, and the 4 quadrants corresponds to, this is the most familiar one, quadrant 1, paper and pencil test, then performance, then observation and perception, and then personal communication. These are the 4 quadrants of assessment tools and strategies. In the category of paper and pencil test, we have class tests, quizzes, full paper examinations, similar kind of things. In performance, we have projects, presentations, demonstrations, speeches, experiments, reports, debates, all these kinds of things. Not that all of them are carried out or all of them are followed in every curriculum. Depending upon the nature of the subject, the nature of the or the learning outcome, we have to select some of them for each of these. So, for example, in our technical education, for BTech, we have projects, and in MTech, we have presentation. A presentation is integrated in project. And observation or perception, this is informal. This is basically based on classroom interaction and the students' participation, involvement during the teaching learning process. And personal communication includes individual conference, small group discussion, interview. I think Viva Voce, etc. We can put it in personal communication category. So these are the standard tools and strategies, assessment tools and strategies that we adopt in our educational institutions and in our educational systems. Okay, evaluation. Evaluation has the process of evaluation has two components, namely measurement and value judgment. Measurement is done with the help of some trace assigned. That means a value is assigned, how much marks one has obtained, 75, 32, 56, and so on. And value judgment means you are giving a grade. Okay, standard grades are excellent, A, B, or first class, second class. We assign these grades according to predefined rules. So, educational evaluation, there are two components. One is the measurement component, and another is the value judgment component. And the value judgment can be absolute, relative, or subjective. Let me just quickly recapitulate. So this is absolute value judgment. You have a scale from 0 to 100 in a test, and we decide that if one gets less than 50%, then we will consider the student to have failed. Though nowadays the word fail is not used. You can say that he or she has to repeat. That means his or her learning outcome has not been achieved. So the student has to repeat. From 50 to 66, second class, 66 to 75, first class, 75 to 80, first class with honors, and above 80 is excellent. This is one example. This is one example. So here it is absolute. Absolute in the sense that suppose one has got 65, just one marks less than the threshold for first class. So he will get second class just for 1 marks. On the other hand, someone who has got 66 has got first class. So difference between 65 and 66 is very insignificant. We know that the knowledge level is the knowledge level of these two learners is almost the same, but we do not have any other choice because we have already fixed that 66 and beyond is first class and below 66 is second class. So that is why it is called absolute value judgment. Sometimes it is felt that absolute value judgment is not justified. So in that case, we go for relative value judgment. Relative means suppose this is the performance of the whole class. Okay, these are the marks obtained, and this is the frequency of the students or the number of students who has got certain marks or marks within a range. So this is the median. That means maximum students has got this number 73, and then we decide that around the median, say 10% below, 10% above, will be considered to be B grade, and above that will be A grade, and above that will be excellent. So this percentage is fixed, but not the exact value. So instead of this one, if the curve was like this, that means median was lower, then a student getting a lower value also may get a higher grade, depending upon the overall performance of the whole class. Assumption is performance of a student depend upon many factors, including the way evaluation is being made. That means the personal trait of the teacher or evaluator, or how hard the question paper was set, or how the classes were enjoyable to the students. Many factors are there. So in order to neutralize those factors, these relative evaluation system are adopted in some places, but this is complicated, and sometimes it also gives rise to anomalies. For example, after deciding this window for B, suppose one has got 80. So 80, the fellow getting 80 will get B, but the fellow getting 81 will get A. So in order to overcome this situation, sometimes it is decided that even if the range is like this, but the range will be extended until and unless a gap of say 1 marks is there in 2 consecutive students. So this kind of techniques are used quite frequently. And in case of subjective, there is no marks are awarded, and the examiner only pass the judgment whether the work is worth the degree or not. For example, in PhD thesis, there is no marks as such, but there is a board of examiners who examine the thesis and the work carried out by the PhD scholar, and they give their opinion that this work is suitable for awarding the PhD degree, or not suitable for awarding the PhD degree, or suitable after making these modifications, and so on and so forth. Now we come to the issue of evaluation of psychomotor skill. Evaluation of psychomotor skill is quite, what should I say, quite difficult and complicated, because in order to evaluate the psychomotor skill of a learner, you have to give the learner different types of tasks and see how perfectly, how efficiently the learner is being able to carry out the task. So that involves time and effort. So let us see how, under ideal situation, such evaluation of psychomotor skill can be executed. A psychometric assessment test is a test to evaluate students' ability to conduct laboratory or workshop tasks. Okay. An assessment rubric may be utilized for direct assessment using, there is a Likert scale kind of thing. I am not very much aware of this. This is a matter of, education people will be able to say. So, but there is some standard assessment rubric for psychomotor skill. This I am going to show you. So here is a psychomotor performance rubric. Psychomotor performance rubric. Criteria are there. What are the criteria? Successfully performs experiments without supervision. Successfully performs the experiments without supervision. This is one criteria. Another criteria is ability to organize, perform experiments safely and aware of the priorities in the laboratory. Next, ability to show engagement in conducting the experiment. Ability to show engagement in conducting the experiment. Ability to demonstrate care and respect in equipment setup. All these are important. Okay. So, successfully performs experiment without supervision. And now you see how efficiently, how perfectly this criteria is being satisfied. Depending upon the level, you can award various kinds of points. Advanced means 3 points, proficient means 2 points, functional means 1 point, and developing means 0 point. So we start with 0. Successfully performs experiments without supervision. Now, if we see that the learner cannot complete the task and the standard procedure, and the learner is not showing any understanding of experiments, procedure, and the theory thought, that means he has not learned anything. His psychomotor skill has not developed at all. So it is still in the developing stage. So in that case, he will get 0 points. Above the developing is the functional, just functional. Okay, 1 point. How to decide whether the learner has functional psychometric rule, psychometric skill? Successfully completes experiment with moderate supervision. Moderate supervision. Show minimal understanding of experimental procedure and theory. So some understanding, some knowledge, and some skill, psychomotor skill the learner has acquired, which under appropriate supervision can complete the task. So it means that the learner has acquired functional psychomotor skill and he is entitled to get 1 point. Above functional is a proficient. Proficient means a better situation, 2 points. Successfully completes experiment with minimal supervision. Okay, moderate supervision, minimal supervision. Shows good understanding of experimental procedure and theory. If a learner satisfies this criteria, he is proficient and therefore is entitled to get 2 points. And advanced means successfully completes experiment independently. Don't need any help from anybody. And does the work successfully. And shows excellent understanding of procedure and theory taught. Without that, of course, he cannot, a learner cannot perform independently without any supervision. So this is advanced level of acquiring skill to successfully perform experiments without supervision. Similarly, we can decide other criteria and other levels also. Again, I would request you that you please go through them when this material is available to you and apply it in your own cases. Okay. So let me proceed. Okay, here are the standard learning objectives or learning outcomes for skill-oriented courses. After completion of the course, the learner will be able to gain knowledge for completing a skill-oriented task, analyze content of the task, make plan for the task, plan the lab or workshop arrangement for performing the task, demonstrate the task, initiate, practice and test, assess the performance. So these are the standard learning objectives for skill-oriented courses. I would request you to kindly mute your mics because some noise is coming. Hello? Yeah, thank you. Go on. Can you please mute? Okay. So again, we come to skill assessment in our technical education system, namely assessment of cognitive skill, assessment of laboratory works, assessment of seminar, assessment of project or dissertation, assessment of industrial training. Let us have a look into each of these assessment of skill assessment one by one quickly. Assessment of cognitive skill. Hello, please mute your mics. Okay. So assessment of cognitive skill involves problem solving, analysis, design. So these are generally integrated in the theory test.
Still now the sound is pending.
Sir, better you mute from your side, sir. I think
Yeah. Sir,
That is what I am trying,
it
but
is mute from your
I am
side.
really not very familiar with this.
I would like to request you,
Zoom.
sir, guys, authorities, somebody is mute the all this percent. Can I triple it here? I would like to request you, please.
Anyway, let us not waste time. Okay. So assessment of cognitive skill is integrated in theory papers, because in theory papers we put problems, numericals to solve, some question involving analysis, and some question involving design. So assessment of cognitive skill do not require any separate activity, but it is integrated. It is included in the theory question papers and theory evaluations, theory examination. But assessment of laboratory works, there we have to conduct a practical examination, and Viva-voce is there, and also sessional. Okay, why Viva-voce is required? Practical examination. In a practical examination, why should we take a Viva-voce? Why should we consider sessional marks also? Because through Viva-voce, we are able to understand whether the student has done his job appropriately with proper knowledge or not. And through sessional, we are able to judge whether the student has done his work throughout the semester.
okay. Circular, as a committee chairman, that is a direction. You are hereby directed or informed or something like this to come for a meeting with the following agenda to be discussed. Okay. That circular copy has to
Yeah. So that is why in assessment of laboratory work, laboratory paper, not only the end semester or end year practical examination is taken, but also we take a Viva-voce and sessional to indicate that how far the student has done his or her work throughout the semester. So all these things are integrated or included in the skill assessment of laboratory works. Seminar, I do not know, in some BTech curriculums, there is a separate seminar paper, but in MTech papers, generally there is a separate seminar paper. And in the seminar paper, the students are asked to give seminar. Actually, they are given some topics, generally some advanced topics on which they have to acquire knowledge and then make a presentation. So here are the features of seminar. Actually, seminar is a very important paper, usually included at master's level. Time allotted for background work, maybe 15 days to one semester. A topic, preferably advanced, is allotted to the learner. The learner has to search through various learning materials, books, journals, internets, etc., and then gather information and study them and make a presentation of 15 to 30 minutes using appropriate media such as chalk and board, overhead projector, PowerPoint, and so on. And learner may have to submit a printed document that is a synopsis or handout. So all these things are the features of a seminar paper. How to assess the seminar? In order to assess the seminar paper, seminar skill related to providing to offer a seminar on a subject by a student or learner, we have to consider the objectives. What are the objectives? Objective is to develop independent learning skill, not classroom learning. Capacity of independent thinking, skill to extract the essence of a subject from a pile of information, because we know that in today's world, any topic you give, you get lots of papers, lots of materials, lots of YouTube videos and so on. And the main problem is how to extract the essential features of that and then present it, convert it to a presentation or in a written document, summarize. So that skill has to be developed. And to develop skill for time constraint presentation, interactive skill to face questions and defend oneself, reactive skill, time management, attitude, countenance, body language, etc. All these things are relevant for giving a seminar before a number of before a body of audience. And there are hard skills that we have to consider when we assess seminar, namely topic coverage, how far the topic has been covered, depth of knowledge, time management during presentation, and also the quality of the presentation, namely the quality of the slides, quality of the transparencies, board work, and so on and so forth. These are the hard skills that we need to consider. And there are soft skills, namely, say, appearance or dress sense, body language, vocabulary, including language, clarity, volume, speed, and so on and so forth. So all these things has to be taken into consideration while evaluating one's performance in the seminar paper. Then comes project or dissertation. Generally, project or dissertation is a paper in the final semester or final year. The marks allotted may differ from 100 to 500, though generally the credit is higher, and the credit can be from 4 to 20 depending upon the, for example, in BTech it may be 8 credit, in diploma it may be 4 credit, whereas in MTech it may be 20 credits, because in MTech it is expected that student has to acquire the higher level skills or higher level competencies. Again, here are the objectives or outcomes, whatever you say, I don't care. Independent learning skill, independent problem solving skill, decision making skill, higher level cognitive skills such as analysis, design, synthesis, interpersonal relationship in case of group project, report writing skill, initiative and interest, enhances confidence and skill to solve problems. All these things are supposed to be acquired by a student through his project work. And the role of the teacher is to facilitate, not spoon feed, but to facilitate the student in such a way the students acquires these skills as far as possible. And again, while we go for evaluation of a project, we have to evaluate the process, which is to be monitored by the supervisor. And generally, at the end of the project, there are some products, or at least something is produced, and an object, maybe some solution, and there will be a report. All these things are outcomes of the tangible outcomes of the project. And then there is a presentation and vivabosi. All these things are part of the project, evaluating a project work by a student. So they contain skill components as well as knowledge component also, and also the attitude. So here is a kind of structure, a proposed structure, but it depends. You can make your own rubric kind of thing for assessment of a project or assessment of dissertation by a student. Then comes industrial training. Industrial training or internship, whatever you say. What is the purpose? What is the purpose of industrial training? What is the purpose of internship? The purpose is to familiarize the learner with the world of work, because ultimately the purpose of education, particularly technical education, is to make a student ready for real life situation in industry, in a company. So, so the student has to be acclimatized with the industrial environment, because we all know that industrial environment is different from the academic environment. So, before we pass out a student, we should ensure the student has some idea about the nature of the environment in which he or she is going to spend the rest of his life. Okay, so to familiarize the learner with the world of work, to experience the real life working environment, okay, to work on real life problems. In academics, our main purpose actually is to elevate the intellectual level of the student to a height, so that he or she becomes suitable to take up the real life problems in the industry. Okay, so whether that skill has been that level of intellectual capability has been attained or not can be judged, can be decided only by the industrial people, so that when they go to industry and do some kind of work there, which is useful for the industry. So to work on real life problems is also one of the purposes that we send our students to the industry. But of course, now what is the outcome of industrial training? There is no product, only the experience which is gathered by the learner or the personal development of the learner, which cannot be measured. And the process is also outside the jurisdiction of the academics, because the teacher is not going to see what is happening at the industry. It is not possible, it is not feasible. But the industry to which the student has been sent, they will provide a certificate stating whether the student has successfully completed the internship or industrial training or not. That is complete. That is enough for our purpose. And at the end, I will give you some. But I mean, this is I am grateful to my colleagues at the mechanical engineering department and electrical engineering department and civil engineering department and computer science department, because from each of these departments I have requested them to provide some sample skill-based experiments or skill-based jobs and the rubric, kind of rubric which can be used and which can be provided as sample to the audience as how psychomotor skill can be assessed. So in mechanical engineering department, they have provided me two such things: measurement of load using load cell. I am not going into the details because these are outside my domain. I am a teacher of computer science, so I won't be able to appreciate, but I'll provide these to all of you. So those who are in the mechanical engineering department or related to mechanical engineering, they will be able to appreciate this thing. And another is drilling operation. What are the knowledge component? What are the psychomotor skill component? And different tasks that will be given to judge whether the knowledge and the psychomotor skill has been acquired or not. And then from electrical engineering department, this experiment is microprocessor based speed control of DC motor. Again, what are the tasks and the corresponding knowledge and psychomotor component that we have to judge whether the student has acquired or not. Microprocessor based speed control DC motor is going on. Microprocessor based speed control of DC motor. Then civil engineering, conduction of California bearing ratio test and determination of CBR. Again, these are completely unknown to me. Only persons from civil engineering department will be able to appreciate. And finally, computer science and engineering, some basic computer applications like printing an MS Word document. Okay, what are the tasks and what are the knowledge components? What are the psychomotor skill components? Okay, my friends, so this is all I had to share with you. I thank you for your patient hearing, and I now stop and invite questions or any kind of discussion that you would like to do before we end the session. Any question? Hello? Is there anybody? I'm getting certain messages thanking me. So I thank you all. And with your permission, I leave.